but what it took for that person to have that fraction of a second more, it may be a million hours more that you did not see. A million hours sacrificing to see nothing, only for the end. But that fraction of a second is the difference between first and second. So. Yo, what's up, gang? It's your boy AK back with another episode.
Hey guys, it's Wells. Hope you guys are good.
Yeah, guys, like we promised you, we're back with the videos. Thank you so much for watching, for supporting. So for this episode, Wells and I wanted to try something different, something a bit more personal. So we swapped phones, and on that we went through each other's diaries, and like we're gonna pick up on points from that and just elaborate more on that.
These are like mostly just things that like little anecdotes that we write like in our notes on a daily basis, or just messages to ourselves, messages to share with close friends and stuff. So you want to start it off?
Yeah, you can start it off.
Okay, so we're reading each other's, by the way. So like this is also like the first time we're getting insight into each other's notes, but I'm sure that we'll find like the things that we write down here we've probably spoken about like at some point, like somewhere along the line. So the first thing is the one that I like the most is you said this was day 4, so I'm assuming this was from beginning, so that day 4 of whatever it was that you were going through. But I like the fact that you said this on day 4 because it proves that you had a realization. So you said today is the last day you hurt yourself, full stop, ever, full stop. And like I want to speak to it like this, like I'm sure there was your own thing that was going on, but I like it because it can mean both physically, it can mean mentally, it can mean in terms of the habits that you're doing that inflict harm on you. I mean, for me, for example, I know that it resonates in the sense of my habits, like maybe we can even say like a year ago weren't really the best, and not to say that they were like consciously hurting me, like as in like I do this to you and then that's painful, but like it shows now looking at the progress that I've made that there was some sort of hurt going, like and me making that decision on whatever day that I did in December or January to be like stop doing A, B, C and D, was me coming to that realization of this is the last day that you hurt yourself, ever. I don't know how personally you want to get with it, but I mean speak to it.
So I remember this actually. So I think I said in one of the episodes that my journey started when I took my leave of absence from university, and one of the days I just decided like, I'm gonna wake up at 5 and start just taking care of myself. I want to heal, and at that time I had no good habits. All my habits were very bad habits, self-destructive habits, and I think I realized like, I'm harming myself, in mentally, physically. So not going to the gym, the way I was eating, the other habits I had, like I'm actually harming myself. It may not be physically, as in like you said, I'm punching myself or anything, but I am harming myself. And I was like, if I want to heal or even be in a position where I can heal, I need to stop harming myself. There's already so many things out there that work against you, that challenge you. So I need to be on my side. I can't be working against myself as well, So I think I just made a statement that day that I'm done hurting myself. All my thinking from this point forward is to not harm myself, to better myself. And
I love that. I love what you said about like realizing. I forgot what you said. You said something like it was but something along the lines of you realize that the things that you were doing were the things that were causing you harm. I think maybe that's what the first step is. For maybe people watching, for even yourself. Like that's pretty much what you said. But like making that classification of this is what's hurting me can also be difficult, right? Because sometimes those are the things that maybe you enjoy the best, or the things that you think are actually benefiting you. You know what I mean? Like, okay, cool, not going to the gym one day, right, can be good for you because you're resting your body. 2 days, sure, maybe 3 days, 4 days, but when it gets into a week, right, then you can no longer hide behind the thing of this thing is helping me in this sense, because it switches around and it becomes super detrimental, bro.
Real. Okay, so now going on to something that you said, which I really love, right?
For sure.
So you named it your word. And you said your word means everything. Think of the story of the boy who told Wolf. The more you go back on those promises and statements you've made, the harder it is to trust you. And I fucking love that, because I don't know, beginning of this year when I set my goals, one of my goals was be a man of your word, and how I took that was already just looking at, so when people say normally they're referring to other people, right? Like be a man of your word to other people. But I took it very internal. I was like, I need to be a man of my word. If I say I'm waking up at 5, I need to wake up at 5. If I say that I'm going to run 10 kilometers, even when no one is looking, I need to be able to rely on my own word, you know. And that was a very big thing for me coming into this year. So what does that mean for you, your word?
You know, so I'll speak to it like as in the time that I wrote it, but also something that I heard actually yesterday or day before yesterday. So I'll speak to what I heard most recently. It was this quote where, again, I've quoted this podcast before. It's the Chris Williamson podcast. It's called Modern Wisdom, and he was speaking about I think it was Chris Eubank Jr. So he's a boxer, and he was saying that Chris Eubank was telling him that the reason why I have to make sure that I finish all the things that I say I will. So for example, I'm training for a boxing match, nobody else is in the gym, and I have to run 10Ks that day. My leg starts cramping on the 9th, right? I have to push that last kilometer.
You have to limp it.
You have to limp it, exactly. Because if he gives up in those moments when he's alone, in the small little fractional moments, then when he gets to the important stuff, like the things that actually matter, now when he's in the 11th round, right? So round 1, kilometer 1, that's easy, that's chill. But the more you go and the harder it gets, the more you need to persevere, you know. So even just like staying true to your word, just doing that in small situations leads up to the bigger situation. So that's kind of what it was for me. Is I also just want to be true. You know what I mean? I want to be like a true person. Like, we can joke around like, oh, he's capping about this, but about the things that I'm serious about, I want people to take me seriously in understanding that when I say I'm going to do this, I'm not like, you know, and this is no shots at anyone, but everybody else who says they don't do that. I'm saying that because when I say it, it will be true, you know. And like that, it also puts pressure on myself to work, you know, because for your word to be true, it's like, then you need to prove it. You need to show that your word will be true, you know.
I love that. Even with the pressure thing, I think we had this conversation when we recorded the last episode, when we were speaking about, even when you say that you want to do something, how we've put out on the internet, we have records of us saying our goals, what we want to be, and imagine one day you don't get that goal and people say, oh yeah, but I knew like you were gonna, you know, if you say like, I want to stop doing X, I want to start doing this, and when you don't reach it, people are like, I knew you weren't gonna do it anyway, you know. And for me, I'm like, I don't want that to be me. I want, if I say something, people understand and believe that, no, this guy does what he's gonna say, and
it's pride,
you know, keep myself up to that standard as well, you know, be a man of my words. So I love that.
Very true. Yeah, man, I just think it's also just a thing of like build up, you know, like the story of the boy who cried wolf. It's like, if you lie once, or if you say that something's gonna happen, it doesn't happen once, there's only so much leeway that someone can give you, right? If you said once, okay, fine, yeah, sure, you made a mistake, maybe you made a lapse of judgment, whatever the case was. 2 times, 3 times, now we're starting to doubt you. The 4th time, then it's like, okay, well, anything that you say from this point onwards is just fake. It's not true, you know. And that's just not what I want my team to be, you know. So you wrote here. So this was now speaking to the principle of compounding, right? So I like what you said. So it's the first thing that you said was the first rule of compounding, whether this is money, habits, whatever, is that you never interrupt it unless it's absolutely necessary. Like you cannot interrupt the compounding effect at all. And then you later moved on, and then you said mastery requires practice, which that's probably the best one that I love, right? Is mastery requires practice. If you want to be the master of something, there's no point from non-master to master. There's that whole thing in between, and I feel like compounding now is how you get in between that, you know. So just like speak to me about like how that applies in your life, whether it's like through prayer, whether it's whatever, but just tell me how you apply that.
So the compounding one, I think it's nice because I not only experienced it with my habits, with my, you know, practicing to reach my goals, but also in terms of money. So I think the first time I saw it was, we spoke about it today as well with my crypto portfolio. I had money in my portfolio, quite a good portfolio, you know, I built up for 2 years, and then I went through a time in my life when I wasn't okay, and I took it out, like I, you know, interrupted the investment, and now when I look at, because obviously you can calculate where it would have been, where it could have been, and I see that because of that one interruption, I then messed it all up, you know. But had I left it there uninterrupted, then I would see the compounding results, you know. And so when I wrote it down, though, I took it from Atomic Habits, and it just speaks about, and that's why I keep referring to the one decision I made of let me wake up at 5 in the morning, because it started as just waking up at 5 in the morning, but then I had more time to read books. The more books I read, so everything just started compounding, and that's where I am now. You know, this is a result of compound interest. I can look back to a time when I wouldn't even recognize the person I am now. So it's the,
my God.
you know, where I am now and where I'm going to be in the future. It's all going to be a result of compound interest. You know, I try my best, and it's important not to interrupt that process, because all you need to do is trust it and let it play out.
Very true.
And what was the second thing you said again?
So the second one was mastery requires practice.
Yeah.
Mastery requires practice, yeah.
Mastery, I think we've all seen, I don't know if it's an Instagram post or like I read it somewhere, but the difference between first and second place in 100 meter in the Olympics may be a fraction of a second.
So insane. Like even a world record.
Like a fraction of a second. But what it took for that person to have that fraction of a second more, it may be a million hours more that you did not see. A million hours sacrificing to see nothing, only for the end. But that fraction of a second is the difference between first and second.
Yeah.
So master it. You just need to keep doing it. You need to never let yourself get too big-headed, you know. Like you fuck.
Just kidding. No, you just
no, like
so
you just
hard right now.
you cannot stop. You cannot stop. You need to be a master, because, and like you said, that results in compound interest. That moment when it finally has built up to that fraction of a second, that is worth it all. So yeah, man, I just saw that and it blew my mind. Yeah.
One thing that I want to add though, and this is like something that I've learned from everybody else. Like I don't think I've reached a point where I can say this has fully happened for me, but just hearing like other successful people talk about it is, and I'm going to add it onto what you're saying, is even after you get to a point of mastery, or once you see those results, it doesn't mean that you're done.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like maybe you've reached mastery to the first degree out of 100, but you've entered like a new realm, right? But it doesn't mean that you're done and that you're the best of the best. You know what I mean? Like it's rare for people to say that they're the best of the best. Like you can't say you're the best of the best, because there'll always be somebody working harder than you, like you said, that's putting in the extra 1 million. Maybe if you get comfortable, it's crazy to me, man. It's crazy. I love that. I love that.
Okay, so now one of the notes that you wrote, which I also loved, you're speaking about mental masturbation.
Never spoken about it.
Yeah, which you have spoken about. So I'll let you speak more on that, but then what really stood out to me was at the end when you said, keep grinding, keep adapting, and keep thriving. And especially the part about adapting, you know, the importance of needing to adapt, because I think it's easy to, you know, for me to get from point A to B and think that strategy, that same, you know, effort, that same ethic, that same, you know, apply the same amount of work, the same amount of attention to that, but my circumstances have changed, so I won't get the same results. You know, it's important to adapt to the situation, adapt to your growth, you know. And yeah, I think I just really love that. So what's your, or when you wrote this, what were you thinking, what were you feeling?
So this is like probably, I mean, the dates are all somewhere there. I just it's a lot of work to check now, but like I think this is the time when I was kind of really putting like action into like all of the things that like I was thinking about and conceptualizing, like, okay, you want to achieve this and this and this, but now it's, you know, like you're falling into that loop of scrolling, like TikTok, seeing Iman Gaji telling you you need to do this, seeing David Goggins telling you boats on the log, seeing all of that, and I was kind of moving out of that, like, okay, fine, like I'm aware that I have the mentality, but now I need to put it in, right? So the mental masturbation came in from a point of, like, stop telling yourself that you're going to be great. Stop telling yourself that you're meant to be this. Stop telling yourself that you deserve this, and actually go do it. Go prove it. Go put in the work. Go show people that you can do it, right? Like, what's the point in me sitting here in front of a camera, me sitting here next to you being like, yo, did you know I'm going to be so great, man. I'm going to do all of this stuff, and then I go home and I chill, or I go home and I just sit and I binge watch 5 hours of Netflix. That's mental masturbation. You're providing yourself a remedy that you don't need, right? Now, the last part, in terms of like keep adapting, keep thriving and
keep grinding. Yeah.
That's how you get rid of mental masturbation. That's literally what it is, because you can fall out of the cycle of it, right? By grinding, cool, you get to the place like you say, but now you're at point B, right? If you don't adapt, the mental masturbation starts all over. So it's kind of like a loop.
Yeah.
You know, it's kind of like a loop. And I mean, I'm not gonna lie to you and say that it hasn't happened again. Like it happened again in like July, but even then, because I had that thing of, okay, I know that I need to adapt and I need to change what I'm doing, it's time to move on. And then now I'm back in it. You know? So that's kind of what it was. But I was going through like a transition.
Yeah.
That's basically like why. Yeah, I filled that in.
I love that.
Alrighty. So for you, okay, I like all of this now, but the one that I want to speak on is the first part of it. So you said your identity is literally your repeated beingness, right? So is how often you are actually like being like that thing that you say you are. That's what your identity is. Like if you are, you know, let's just say you drink a Coke every single day and your friends see that, because that's what you're being, then that becomes your identity, right? And then you repeat it afterwards to say try, fail, learn, and then try differently, right? I want to switch them though, but I'll speak after you speak. So and say try, learn, fail, and then try differently. So just switch those two. But yeah, speak to me about that. Like, what was going through your head? Holy shit.
So, also from Atomic Habits, and when I read that, it blew my mind. Because I think there's so many words that words that we use that we don't really look at deep enough, we don't understand, you know. So identity, my identity, what is that, you know? Is it
real?
I'm a male? Is it I'm like, what does that mean? But you know, like it says over there, my repeated actions with the Coke example. So I was like, oh shit, so let me look at the things I have been doing. Who am I then? And I wasn't happy with that. When I looked at that, I wasn't happy.
You're striking a nerve.
And you know, and I was not happy with that identity, and I was like, okay, so then I need to create a new one. And that's when I sort of started seeing myself as a character, you know, that, and with phrases that we use like I am, you know, anything you put after I am is a statement.
Yeah.
Anything you put I am,
blatant, straightforward,
you know. And I was like, okay, whoa, then I need to make sure that when I say I am, I am. And I think that just really blew my mind. And in terms of try, fail, learn, try differently, I think it was speaking more towards what learning is, right? And I think it was a definition broken down in the book, but they said it's same environment, different behavior, or change behavior, right? So I think in that it was speaking to, you know, if I try to do something, say I fail, even though I don't believe it's failing, but say I fail. If I learn from that failure, then I have a new set of data, I have new information about what I tried. Now I'm trying it differently, you know. So I think it was speaking more, don't see failure as a failure, you know. You can either win or learn. So I think the emphasis is more on, if you don't get it right, learn from those mistakes, you know, learn from whatever it is that didn't work out. And once you've learned, now you have more information than you did the first time you tried it. So try differently. And I think I just apply that in all facets of my life, really. I think like you can even do this and say like replace giving up with try differently. You know what I mean? And I don't know, like all of this stuff, I love how it all just comes full circle. But it's like, because if you do that process of try, learn, fail, try differently, then that's you firstly putting in the word to master, like we've already spoken about. Master your practice mastery. So you're practicing your mastery. And then on top of that, the second one was you're also compounding by doing that, by repeatedly doing that. You're adding on to every failure that you make and every way that you learn. You know that, okay, this isn't the way that I'm doing, and you're compounding your skill level, you're compounding the mindset. I fucking love that. I fucking love that. Okay, so you're very spiritual, right? You are very spiritual, and I know that you've been going on a journey with it, but we don't need to get into that specifically. But I just want to read. I'll find it now. Okay, there we go. So this is one thing that you said about spirituality. You said, I will continue to remind myself of my internal power, and I will use the power to defy all odds. I believe in myself. I believe in the power of God, because I was created in the image of God. Talk to me. Sure.
Talk to me.
Shit. Yeah, so like you said, I am very spiritual, and shout out to my mom again. But my
Shout out,
mom
Mandy.
really, yeah,
Shout out.
she really did just help me understand the power that I have within. You know, I think, not even I think, the barrier between the person that I was and the person I am now, which is where I'm happy, and the person that I'm going to be really is just in understanding what I'm capable of doing and actually doing it. You know, so she gave me this book. I think I've said it multiple times. Power of the Subconscious Mind, and it really, really, it was a paradigm shift. It made me understand that I have power greater than I haven't even done any work to try and understand how powerful my mind is. You know, we speak about it in everyday stuff about how powerful your mind is, and your mind can do this, your mind can play tricks on you, but your mind can, you know, like there's just so much that you can do. And I think once I started practicing and understanding the power and the capabilities that I have, then I was able to understand that nothing can stop me. When someone says with confidence that nothing can stop me, when people make statements, I am this, I am going to be this, they're not saying it because they, you know, it's something to say, but they truly believe. And why do they believe it? Because they know that they're creating it, you know. And I think once I came to understand that, I was like, there's nothing that can stop me. And she also really just helped me dig a lot deeper into who and what God is for me. And you know, I use the Bible app every morning, so I get verses every day. And you know, seeing that you were created in the image of God, I was like, well then shit, I have a lot of work to do. But I have a lot of work to do, but with that, I'm able to do that work. I have the power to do that work and be there. So I'm like, what can stop me, you know, or what can stop me? And I think it's really just, that is the power in knowledge, you know, because that piece of information allowed me to understand that there's more information out there, you know. It was one big unknown until I got one piece of it, and I unlocked the doors to really just understanding, like, Shipper, I can do anything, and I will do anything because I say I will do anything. Yeah.
So I just want to ask, and I think like this is a very like deeper chop, so I'll just ask it on the basis that can apply like across all facets. But it's like, would you say that then that's just pretty much like that basis, or that would be faith? You know what I mean? Like, to know that I will be able to do this because I am this person, right? And now I'm saying specifically linked to God, the concept of God, the idea of God. Is that faith, or is it part like you and faith? Like,
I think I like to sum it down to what I've said in the podcast is belief cannot be faith, you know. So it is whether it is believing in myself and just understanding what belief really is, because belief will dictate your actions, you know. And even if you apply it back to business, what you believe about yourself as a person will reflect in business. What you believe about yourself as, you know, will dictate whether you're the type of person to skip gym or not. What you believe about yourself, you know. So I think that belief comes down to everything that allows me to feel that. And I guess the proof I've seen that I'm able to, in believing this, pushes me forward, then it's that, you know. So it's belief in self, it's belief in God, it's belief in my mind. So it's just, because thing is, now I'm gonna get a bit deep as well, but a lot of people, which, and I'm not taking shots at anyone, but what I've seen is they don't know what their true beliefs are. You know, we get fed a lot of information every day, especially now with social media, with news, with your parents, with schools. What is your actual belief, you know? And I don't think there's any time in life where you have enough time to truly dig into them and understand, is this my belief, or is this something that just made sense, so much sense that I could believe it? What do you truly believe? And that is what will dictate your actions. Because if you say you believe this and your actions say otherwise, you don't believe that.
Like, you're lying.
You're
lying.
So man, just believe.
Fuck yeah. Frick yeah, sorry. My mom told me I need to stop swearing on this. So
You need to stop swearing.
Sorry. Frick yeah.
Yeah.
Damn man, I love that.
And you? Anything you want to touch on that?
I think you summed it up. I'm pretty much aligned in terms of when it talks to like faith and all of that. Like I also do of course like express I do of course like express my thoughts like out. I do like pray, but I don't like to put too much of my responsibility or my duties like onto the force that I'm talking to. Of course, I speak to it like to, I talk to my ancestors in terms of like, thank you for this, thank you for that, thank you for guiding me. But that's as far as I like to push it. Maybe it's just an internal thing because I also don't like depending on people like that much. Like I hate being dependent on other people. Like if somebody says, I'll do this for you, then I'm just like, why would you do that? Why did you do that? Because I want to do that myself. So it goes even as far as that. But for me, it's pretty much both as well. Yeah. But I like what you said about like it's belief.
Yeah.
Let's just say it's the general idea of belief.
Yeah.
I'd say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Freak, yeah.
Freak, yeah, man.
Freak.
Freak.
Nah, real.
Wanna do one? Because I have like two more.
Okay, cool. You can shoot, bro.
Okay. So you said, and I love this because I just feel like whenever you see like all of these business people and like these people that you look up to, it seems as if everything that they did was so perfect and so to the T and like so like amazing and smart that they didn't have any downfalls, any failures or anything. Like you look at Steve Jobs and people are like, oh, Steve Jobs, he like his company, he was so smart, he saw the future, he created the smartphone, he put everything into one. Now his company's worth $2 trillion or whatever. But then it's like, okay, well, Steve Jobs also didn't have the best relationship with his daughter. Steve Jobs, was very like, he was a bit arrogant, like some people would say, I love that. But anyway, the point is, so you wrote here in your entry, you said, the days that don't go to plan. Today I learned a very important lesson, a lesson that I'll take with me forever. When you're doing everything right, doing your best, it's easy to think everything else should go according to plan. It's easy to even feel entitled. I conquered everything that was in my control today, but everything that was out of my control went wrong. I got upset, I got overwhelmed, I got angry, and I couldn't have control of my entire day. And I think, dude, oh my God, because, wow, dude,
Okay. Wow.
I love that. I'll speak to it after you.
No, shoot first, bro. Tell me, how do you take
Yo, dude, like, that's literally what it is. That's literally what it is. Like, I'll take another example, like Elon Musk. Like, we look at Elon Musk now, like, oh, he fluctuates between the first and second richest person in the world. He was this guy that literally went to school 5 minutes from where we're shooting right now. Like, those are the things that we think, and we're like, oh, now he's just a millionaire. He made PayPal, all of these things. But it's like, okay, most people don't know the stories about when he needed $20 million on New Year's Eve to save Tesla and SpaceX, or else they all would have went into the ground. Investors, everybody messed up, and through faith and whatever that it was, yes, he was doing everything that he could, he was smart, he was this and that, but the things that were out of his control, as in needing that $20 million to save two companies that are two of the biggest companies in the world, that was out of his control. And because he didn't have that, his day was probably his entire life, up until that point, was just like, yo, everything is colliding. And I'm not Elon Musk. I'm not out here needing, at least not right now, I'm not out here needing $20 million to save a company or whatever. But it is those things, because you said you did everything that you needed to do, but the things that you can't affect still went wrong. And even though you have that thing of, okay, I did everything that I needed to do, I'm in the clear, that stuff, because you don't have control over it, affects you no matter what. No matter what. And this was happening a lot, like in the beginning days of starting my company, where like I would do everything, I'd do the research, I'd understand this, and something would fail, and I'd just be like, why? And it would mess up my entire day, bro. So it struck a nerve, man. It struck a nerve, But talk to me about it. Oh yeah, it's twitching. Almost eyes been twitching.
Folks, I don't know if you can see this, but
it's still twitching.
I think it's stopped.
Yeah,
now,
you good.
Yeah, I think you said it perfectly, bro. It's life. I think, like I said, it's one of the biggest lessons I've learned, because with most of us, when the first thing you want to do is just, if I set a to-do list, can I just get it done? That is, you're like, if I can get this done, then I've done it, and doing that is a great feeling. But now, setting that to-do list, meeting, giving your 100%, and this can be applied to anything. You can be ready to go to the gym. You can make sure that you eat everything you usually eat, and you just don't have your best day. Like, things just don't go your way, And on this day, I realized, I'm like, okay, I'm upset, I'm not happy, but is that fair to me? yeah, when I set a to-do list, then I get that done, and the same thing can be applied to gym. I can wake up at the same time, eat the same food, and when I get there, I don't have the best session, or I'm stuck in traffic. So, like, so many things can happen, and
Yeah.
I asked myself if that was fair to me, because I did everything that I said I was gonna do, but now I'm ruining my celebrations with being upset, with being angry. That forces circumstances bigger than me ruin that. If I end the day and I have not celebrated me doing my things, I'm going to mess up the future. When I say,
Yep.
I'm just gonna mess up that victory, that win I fake.
Mm.
So
Yeah, I think I love that because it's very much a thing of, it's not easy to do that, right? To just be like, oh well, no, well this had to happen. Like, no, it's okay to be upset in those situations, but like, it's like you say, you can't let that ruin your celebrations. Like, just because one bad thing happened, it shouldn't take away from the 7 good things that happened, even though they were small things. Like,
yeah.
I woke up at 5. Sure, that's not like a celebration, like, oh okay, let's go pop champagne, but it's
Yeah.
like, you achieved that.
Yeah.
I followed my diet, I did my calories, whatever. So yeah, I just feel like, just remember that the celebrations that you do throughout the day, and that you should be striving to do throughout the day, will always outweigh the bad things that are happening. Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
I love that.
Shout out.
Okay, you wanna do one more?
Yeah, for sure. Shoot.
Okay, so this is one that I wrote. This was one that I was feeling when I was angry. Like, I was in my like 2015 Drake
Yeah.
era, like doing my shit here. So I'll read like just bits and pieces of it. So, I feel like I'm transcending I feel like I'm transcending and going past what people currently perceive me to be. Right. I'm in a space where I'm in a space where I want to talk about my aspirations and thought-provoking topics. Maybe I'm just harder to please these days, and I feel guilty for it, but I also don't. I still spend time with the people that I love, but my capacity has dropped drastically. I think it also comes from a place where I feel like I don't get enough recognition for the hard work that I'm doing, and it makes me question the perception that others have of what I'm doing. Yeah. But this was also like in like Jan, like it was in Jan. I was on my shit, but it was just a thing of like, I actually wrote another note after this that was saying that, because I came to the realization that you can't be mad at other people for not recognizing whatever. But anyways, the point of the matter was, I feel like a lot of times people also get very upset when other people, like myself in that situation, don't recognize the efforts that they're making, right? And I for me, I had to kind of take a step back of, why am I upset about this? Like, why am I upset that people aren't saying well done, or like telling me like, dude, you're doing great, Like, why do I need like that sense of gratification? And I just told myself that at the end of the day, I'm not doing this for anyone. So like, why would I firstly expect that from someone, and why would I also want that? So yeah, it just kind of put me in a place of understanding that, hey dude, like, remember the reason you're doing this. It's not for people to say, hey, well, it's pat on the back. It's for me to say, dude, look at where you were there, look at where you are now, and look at where you're going to go. That's astronomical. That's achievement for yourself. That's all internal, So yeah, I mean, some of that stuff still does apply to me.
Yeah.
We talk about it all the time.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's kind of where I was. Do you ever feel angry or?
I don't think I personally do, and I think it's because I realized it's a bit funny, but because we do speak about how really truly striving for something, you do have to endure a bit of loneliness, not because you're choosing to isolate or be lonely.
This yesterday. yeah.
Not because you're choosing to isolate or be lonely, but the craft just needs that. It's a requirement, And it's funny because I felt similar feelings, but then I realized that, but also everything you're doing in silence, in a sense. I'm doing all these things. I know that people don't see my 5 push-ups or morning routine in the morning or whatever it is.
Yeah.
People don't see when I'm in a meeting, when I'm doing these things. People don't see when today I really didn't want to go to the gym, but I still did. They just see that I did. They don't see all that underground stuff. So I was like, is it even fair, like you said, for me to expect them to congratulate me when they really don't see, whether it's me not showing them but they don't see it. So I was like, I guess I really am. I think that's when I made peace with the loneliness of it, or not getting the congratulations. Like you said, not that it's what you're doing it for, but it was easier for me to not even point fingers or be like, but you're so close to me, but you still don't see that. Unless I say, hey, look, I woke up when I didn't want to and I did it. You don't see that, so that's. I think that's when I sort of made peace with it. But yeah,
that's real. I think that's where I was now. Like a couple months later. So now this was maybe like in May. In May when I like had come to that realization. Not so much the loneliness that I came to like most recently, but the thing of like, but these people aren't seeing me do that. People aren't seeing me like sitting there like getting my calories and tracking like, okay, what did I eat here? People aren't seeing me like push my personal best. You know, people aren't seeing me like sit down for hours and do research just so I can be the best at what I'm trying to do. You know, and like you say, it's not fair to then just expect you to be like, oh, by the way, well, congrats for something that I'm not seeing. Like, that's not fair. You know? So yeah, I mean, like now I think I'm past that. It was in my younger days. I was
younger guy.
But before we close off, like the loneliness thing, like I was just thinking about how, like, just the way my life is set up, right? Like I do I isolate? Kinda, right?
I don't think so. I think, like I said, the craft requires it.
Yeah.
Because you're not isolating, you're doing things.
Yeah.
It's a time thing. Yeah. It's a currency. Like,
but it's kind of like, but as a result of that, you do isolate technically, right?
I guess.
It's like, it's not a conscious thing of like, I'm going to not talk to anyone. It's a thing of, I'm so busy that I can't talk to anyone right now. And I came to that and I was like I was maybe like looking at stories on Instagram and I was like, yo, people are out and doing things right now and I'm here, like in front of a green screen right now, you know, and I'm like, I'm not even like, I don't have FOMO, I don't have anything, I'm just like, this is my life, you know, and I clicked inside my head that subconsciously, well, consciously now, this is what the loneliness is, and I'm okay with that, and I'm happy with it, you know, so yeah, man, real facts.
Yeah, it's real, it's real.
Damn.
I enjoyed this. I like this.
I also like this.
Quite personal.
Yeah.
These are the real thoughts, feelings, first time hearing, you know. Yeah, guys, we hope you guys enjoyed this. Shout out for being here. Shout out. Guys. Yeah, please subscribe if you haven't subscribed. Like, comment, all that stuff. Yeah. Also, sorry, just to close us off, you know, someone said like I nod too much, and now I think like I think about not nodding. Like they'll be speaking and I'm like, oh fuck, I'm nodding.
Seriously? You're like, oh wait, let me not move my legs.
Because I nod so much, bro. Like I acknowledge, I'm like,
okay, maybe.
I'll wait, guys.
What the heck? Yo, I didn't even like clock that. I can't
for real, bro. They clocked it from Chowder Boys. They're like, bro, you nod a lot. Like, oh, you're right.